Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Spence here at Core 4x4. Now after all the moving and craziness over at the other shop where we moved the machine shop into a new building, we are finally back in the studio making videos. And today we have Marissa, who's not new to the team, but new to the video side of things.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What are we doing today, Marissa?
Today for our, we've got our Dodge Ram shop truck in here, and we are going to be putting on our adjustable front control arms, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, so today we're really going to go through the install of our Ram upper control arms. We'll go through torque specs, tools needed, order of operations. We have done a video on these parts before, but we never did the install, so we're going to show you how to install today.
Let's get started.
Okay, so before we bolt these on, I do want to go through a list of tools you will need to have on hand for this install. Okay, so here are some of the tools you're going to need for this install. Your first one for your frame bolts is an 18mm wrench. Now you can use an 18mm socket, but you will need an extension and a swivel joint in order to get those frame bolts off. The second tool is your 21mm wrench. Now this is for your castle nut on your ball joint. You will need a 5/16 Allen head. You can either have a socket end or a wrench to torque the adjusting sleeve clamp screws. Some needle nose pliers for your cotter pin, a hammer to get your ball joint out, or a pickle fork if it's tight. And sometimes a cheater bar to pry and beat on things is nice to have. Now last but not least, your torque wrench to set all your torque specs. Okay, so that's it for the tools you need. Let's get the truck in the air and get these bolted on. These are our upper front adjustable control arms for the Ram half-ton trucks. Now, form and function is always front in our minds when we're designing a part, but we wanted to take a couple extra things into consideration when designing these arms that really matter. And the first one was adjustability while installed. These arms are fully adjustable while installed on your truck, so no need to take them apart to do your alignment. You can do all your adjustment with this sleeve and this sleeve, or with these two adjustment sleeves on either side of the arms while everything's installed on the truck. So we really wanted to make it easy to adjust these and really allow you to fine tune your alignment, especially at the higher ends of the lift ranges or even the lower trucks. Now the second thing we wanted to take into account on the design of these arms was the ball joint angle. Having a maxed out ball joint angle on your factory control arm is one of the biggest causes of premature failure, like this one here. When you lift your truck, your upper control arm sits at a harder angle, and having this max out on down travel often is what causes your arm to fail. So having a neutral ball joint angle is really important to longevity of your ball joints. Now while I'm on that, I did want to mention that we do use the Moog Problem Solver joint, and it is a replaceable joint, so when it does wear out, you can replace it by just popping off the snap ring, opening up this cap, and putting in a new joint, as opposed to your factory arm, which doesn't have replaceable joints. Okay, just to recap real quick, the three main advantages to our control arms are the adjustability while installed on the truck, the neutral ball joint angle that we take into account, as well as using serviceable and replaceable ball joints. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is that this truck already has our upper arms on it. We're swapping it out because this is our generation 1 of these arms, where we don't have the sealed cap to protect the ball joint and keep it clean and dry. Also, we ran the polyurethane option for a while. Now we're going to switch to the FK rod end upgrade, which is just a spherical rod end that really gives you a little more latitude in your alignment. So just be careful with this wiring harness if you're going to impact this bolt out on this side. So let's get at it. Now we got the old one out, we're going to go put the new one in. Both the arms are marked on the back side. This is left for driver's side, right for passenger. Just make sure you grab the right arm when you're putting it in, because the ball joint offset isn't much different from left to right, but it does matter when coming to align the truck. So really we're just going to bolt this in, and we'll talk a little bit about adjustment before we go to the alignment shop. And like I said, install is pretty straightforward. We have it mocked up now. I want to take a second and talk about torque specs on this. Your two frame bolts are pretty straightforward. They're 130 foot-pounds. But when you get to your upper ball joint here, it's 40 foot-pounds plus 180 degrees. Now all that means is you go 40 foot-pounds on your torque wrench, and then you go another half turn, and that's your torque spec. Now when you do the adjusting sleeve, you need to line up the slit in this adjusting sleeve that's inside the arm with the slit that is on the side of the arm. So it can form a clamp on that thread when you tighten everything down. So right now all I'm doing is I'm going to put a paint mark here just so we can get that 180 degrees. It's at 40 foot-pounds. Now we're going to do a half turn to get to our torque spec. There we go. Now everything is bolted in and torqued down to spec. We're just going to throw some grease in and then move to the other side. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about alignment and adjustment a little bit before we moved on. Now the best way to align your truck and get this dialed in with the adjustable uppers now is to really give it to a good qualified alignment shop and let them do it while it's on the rack. Because with the adjustable uppers and your cam bolts on the lower control arms, there's now 4 points of adjustment to really dial in your front end. And it's going to be easiest to do that while they have the readout while it's on the rack. We do include this wrench for easy adjustment of the adjusting sleeves. And if you're installing this in your driveway before you take it to the alignment shop, I would just turn these out a couple turns, and that's going to be pretty close to factory, enough at least to get it there and drive safely. Okay, so that wraps it up for a pretty easy install.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, it's just 2 frame bolts and a castle nut.
Yeah, and that was nice that it was fast.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's pretty easy. Now, just remember, if you're having premature ball joint failure, if you're having alignment issues because you're lifted, or if you just want a solid upgrade for the front of your Ram, check out these arms. We put a lot of time and effort into the design, and we're really happy with how they turned out. Yeah. It's really just a great arm. And
it's
just,
awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And just to recap on the install, we torqued everything down, we greased everything up, and we did a little bit of adjusting, but really we're going to be off. So this needs to get the alignment shop and dialed in by a professional while it's on the alignment rack, and they'll be able to really get it, yeah, very nice. They'll be able to get it dialed in and driving straight.
Thank you so much for checking this video out. We really appreciate it. If you guys like this video and you want to see more, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us out. And hopefully we catch you next week in the next one. Thanks.